G'day guys, welcome back. I'm just going to varnish this gorgeous little creature today. It's only been a week, but because I use a gloss pouring medium, I find that I don't need to wait, for a month. Like if you're using resin, for instance, you would have to wait a full month for the painting to cure. But I've done this, after a week or two with the gloss pouring medium, and it's worked just fine. So let's do it. Don't shake your bottle. Whatever gloss varnish pouring medium you want to use is fine. Try not to shake it because you'll get bubbles. So pour some on, spread it out. I'd rather have a little bit too much than not enough to begin with. And does have this kind of milky look to it, but don't be concerned, it dries crystal clear. Now these little tools are fantastic for this kind of job. If you do have some bubbles, you can either pop them with the skewer or you can use your heat gun, your torch. Don't get too close because you don't want to get a film over the top of your varnish. Just put that there. Now I'll give it a quick little hit with my blowtorch, this one here, just to pop some bubbles. And as you see, I don't brush my varnish on. I will only ever tilt it. Now, this is the important part. The tilting. What's that? Is there something in there? No. Now, with your blooms, if your center has got a few little dips and cracks and things like that in the middle, your varnish will fill it all up, so don't be concerned. So tip it all the way over. And then what I do is I just run my fingers along the sides to get the sides covered. And back again. Put my finger underneath just to catch any drips underneath, because this stuff dries hard and you don't want any drips hanging onto the bottom. So with the leftovers there that have dripped in, I'll just use them for my sides. And I'll just finger paint them. And I'll do a couple of coats. But this is the most important thing, is to let pretty much all the varnish run off. You're only leaving a very, very thin amount on the surface. If you don't do this and take most of it off, it will crack. And there's really no coming back from that. Even if you put another layer over the top, you will still see those little cracks. I'm just going to run some of this up the sides here while it's sitting there. Now I know it's not very exciting to watch varnish running off, but it's very important. And just run across the bottom again, underneath as well, to catch your drips. Now I just have to make sure that I've got enough on this side here. Make sure your edges are all done. If you do miss a little spot on your first coat, it won't matter. You're going to come back and do it again anyway. The second coat. Right, so that's all run off there. Now I do it a third time back again. Now I don't know if you can see, but up here is more milky down there, which means I've still got quite a lot up here. So what can I put under there actually? I'm just going to, what can I use? Maybe my scale. It's going to sit it on there like that, just so that it's not sitting in the wet varnish. I'll come around here to the side so I can see if it's still going. I don't know whether you guys can see all this, whether I'm still in frame. I can't see my screen. So anyway, I'm pretty much holding it straight up now, almost straight up, and I'm just letting it all come back down again for the third time. I may not have any dripping off, but it's kind of just coming back to the center because it was all up here. So it's just making its way back down again, thinning itself out. Don't know that there's any coming off. So I think that's probably it for the first coat. If you don't put enough on, you'll get kind of waves. So you have to make sure that you've got enough. Oh, look at this. There's some coming down here still, off that corner there. Actually, I can see it now. It's a little bit darker just there. Varnish is sitting just about there. So I will let that go over. Can you guys see that? How it's running off the bottom now? It's just sitting there. That's about to go over, and I don't want it to go over onto my scale, so let me move my scale out of the way. I'll just hold it. And there it goes. It's about to go off the bottom there. I'll hold it like this. Can you see the bottom? Can you see how it's still dripping there? So let's let it go. Help it over. So 3 times I do it. One side, turn it round, do the other side, turn it round, and back again. And make sure that you've got as much off as you can. And I'm just run my finger underneath, catch the drips. Now the only thing I'm going to do now is I'm not going to run it all back again. I'm just going to take the weight of it back a little bit and just fix up the sides here. Run my finger underneath, catch those drips. And that's pretty much it for the first coat. How easy was that, hey? So just make sure when you're doing this, don't leave too much on or it will crack. Okay, and I'm going to leave it there. There's a fly buzzing around me. Now I can come back and do this tomorrow. It only needs like 24 hours. So I'll leave it there. So it's got like that little milky look to it now over the top. Yeah, I'll do another coat tomorrow, and then that should be it. You can do 3 coats if you want. You know, the more coats, the more it'll look like resin. But I really like the gloss. Either a pouring medium, you can use a pouring medium, Any brand really works well with the paints because it's made for paints. So a pouring medium, I actually prefer that to the gloss varnish, so I'll say pouring medium. That's what I used today. I just used a pouring medium, nice and easy, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. All right, I'll see you all for the next coat. Righto, so it is the next morning and I covered my piece of artwork with this big food net when I finished my first coat of varnish. Varnish, I say that lightly because it's pouring medium. Now, oh, my gloves are stuck. It's very sticky. You know, if you're going to use your little tool, make sure you wash it off straight away because this stuff is awfully sticky. Everything's stuck together. I'll see if I can reuse those, see if I can get them back on my hands. Now I will show you before I get started. I don't know if I can reuse these. I'll show you the close-up of this. I did kind of loosen it a little bit last night because it was sticking to the gloss there. Oh, it is just looking so amazing. The colours that come up once this varnish has dried. I'm trying to get it so that I don't knock my, whoops, knock my tripod, she says, as she knocks her tripod. Now that's just the ring there of my light. Let me see if I can actually, I don't know, see if I can pick up, oh there we go, look at that. I can pick up the shine. So you can see maybe a little bit of the indentations from where like the patterns are of the paint, but a second coat will fix that and you won't see that at all. So yeah, once it's done I'll take it outside and put it in the sun so that you can see it shine, because it's not that brilliant inside. I'll just make sure I've got you straight again now since I knocked it. Alright, let's do a second coat. So same as the first coat, I'm not changing anything. The way I do it is exactly the same. If I can get these on. My fingers are webbed. I've got webbing. Come on. Yeah, you can do it. That one's torn. Alright. I'm trying to reuse my gloves. Okay, there we go. I'm a bit sticky, but that'll be fine. Righto, let's go again with our pouring medium. And I'm just going to pour it on. And here we go. Same as before, spread it out first. If your canvas is sort of sagging in the middle, I kind of think mine is starting to sag a little bit with all this extra weight. You can prop something underneath. I tend to use a folded up or a few folded up puppy petal pads because they're soft. I don't want anything hard that's going to make like a, you know, square or little points under there. I'll just cover that, and then I'm going to go and get one of my puppy petal pads. I've got a few that are already folded over that I use for when I do big canvases. Let me just grab one. See, this is just a few folded over. I'm just going to tuck that underneath. How's that looking? No, it's not quite touching yet. I might actually have to just fold that into 3, but that might be too much if I fold it into 3. Let's have a look. It's probably a little bit too much now because it's making a bend like that I can see. I'll try and squash it down a bit more. I think that's pretty good. It's making a little bit of a mound. Anyway, I'll put that in after I've finished tilting. Let's get this done, hey? So you don't really have to watch it again, I guess. You know, you've watched the first one, the first coat, so I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Just going to hold it up here and let everything run down. You can see it all sitting there. I will just give it a quick torch just in case there's any bubbles. I can't see any, but it's a good idea to do this before you start tilting, that's all, because you don't want to pop any bubbles afterwards and leave little holes. You're better off, if you're going to get a little hole where your bubble has popped, you're better off doing it before you tilt. That way the little holes can get filled in with the varnish as it runs over the top of them. Alright, let's get going again. Looking forward to this being done. And then I'll take it outside and show you how glossy it is. A few coats of this, you know, it's right up there with resin, it really is. And I just think it's so easy to do. I don't dilute it, nothing, I just pour it on, spread it out and tilt it. It's still sticking to everything with these gloves, it's so sticky. And then I'm just going to run my finger underneath to catch those extra drips. Just smush any edges or areas that haven't been covered. And you can pretty much see where there are missed areas because it kind of leaves a little indentation. I think that side's done. I'm not going to put my fingers in the side again. I'm just going to run my fingers underneath. Let's turn her around. Now this extra here I'll use for the sides because I'm only going to tip up and down. So this extra I'll just pop a little bit on the sides here. It's not going to waste. Make sure that my edges are all covered. I'm just kind of pushing it on, just make sure that my top edges are all covered. So that's done there. Let's do the same to the other side. Now you can pick up your excess like that if you want to, if you've got a lot. I just find it easier just to pick it up like that. Actually, I can't see. There we go. There's a nice big puddle. Put that on. I mean, if you wanted to, you could tilt side to side, but you know, you'd have to have a lot more varnish to be able to actually get over the sides as well, and it's expensive. So, you know, I just do this, and then I use my leftovers, so not too much is wasted. The sides are done. Now I'm just going to put a little bit extra over onto the top there where the canvas is rounding to go over the edge. Just make sure there's some there as well. It'll just run down and then run underneath, catch the drips, and that side is done. Right, now we have to bring everything back down this way because there's too much on there, too much varnish. I can see that it's quite white, it's quite opaque, there's a lot still sitting on there. Can't leave that much on, it will crack. So let's go again. Now I can look at the bottom of this and just run my finger there, make sure I'm getting all those little drippies. Now we just have to wait for the varnish all to run down. And just be patient, it'll happen. You might not be able to see the actual waves until it gets down to about here, where it's actually collected quite a lot on its way, and then you can see like this wave of white near the bottom, and you need to wait for that wave of white to go completely off the edge. I don't know if you can see it from up there. I can't see it yet, the wave happening, but it will happen. I don't know if maybe I can prop this up with a bottle and then take you in for a close-up. I'll see if I can do that. Once I see the wave getting near the bottom, I'll see if I can zoom you in. Okay, so it's starting there. Can you guys see that there? That wave there? And down here. You can see how that's white there? I'm not going to risk propping it up. Hopefully you guys can see. Can you see that thick white wave sitting on the bottom there and here? Now we have to wait till those have gone over. So that side's gone over. This one hasn't gone over yet. We're just going to have to wait till that one's gone over. The middle might be a bit slower, but we need to wait until that big wave there of white has gone. Almost lifting it straight up now, quite vertical. I don't want to go too vertical because, you know, I don't want the bottom sticking. Let me see if I can zoom you in. I don't know if I can. Let's just pop that bottle under there for a minute. I don't know if it's going to stay. Put it there. Alright, now I'm going to have to take my gloves off. I'll see if I can zoom you in just while it's going all the way down to the bottom there. You see how it's just about to go over on the bottom there? So I'm going to go and tip it again, and we're going to wait for this to run over. I'll lift it a little bit more. So you can just help it along. Don't put a dry finger in there though. Make sure you've got some varnish on there and just tap it like that, and that'll help it run over. And just another minute or so. I know it's boring, but it's important. Boring to watch, that is. I'm sorry, but you know, it is what it is. This is what I do. This is how I get good results. For those of you that are struggling with varnishing, I guess you'll appreciate this. Others that aren't really that into it, yeah, will find it boring. All right, let me move that back. And now the edge there, see how the edges, you can see that it needs a little bit more varnish. So let's just pick that up, because there's some areas that have missed as the varnish has kind of dripped down. It's missed a couple of little areas. So just fill that in, run your finger underneath, catch the drips. Alright, now I'm going to zoom you back out. I need to tilt it one more time. Okay, I think that's about it. Now, one more time, tilt the other way again. Don't pick it up on the sides, make sure you're holding underneath. Now it's still quite white here, so we're going to go one more time back that way. And I've taken my gloves off now, so I'll have to be careful. Catch those drips underneath. Because when they do dry, it dries like resin and you end up with these little hard drips underneath. And if you want to get rid of them, you're going to have to like sand them. So try and get them off before it dries. Okay, so now we're not going to wait until everything drips off the bottom. We're just going to basically just get what was all the way down here, just kind of spreading it back into the middle. So we'll just give that a minute or so. And then we'll be done. I'll cover it again with the net, and tomorrow it will be dry and I'll take it outside and show you the finished product. You could, as I said, you know, do 3 coats, but I'm not going to. Well, we'll see what happens. I'll see what it looks like tomorrow, if I'm still getting any like little divots and things from, you know how sometimes your CA, your cell activator makes those kind of little divots, like cracks and things. It's certainly not as bad when I spin. When I was just tilting, I was getting lots of those little divots and things, but when I spin, I think because you spin so much of the paint off, you're left with a very thin coat, I'm not getting those, so yay for spinning. So that's another reason why spinning is great. I'm never going back to tilting. Well, I'll tilt if I'm doing like a long, narrow canvas. But if I'm doing squares or rounds, most definitely just tilt. All right, so I think that's going to be good. I'm just going to leave it like that. Make sure it's not looking too bad under here where I've left it sticking in my puddle of varnish. Make sure you run your finger underneath again all the way around, catch your drips. So there's still quite a lot of drips happening. One more time. Look at that. Still got lots there. You might want to, you know, come back in half an hour when everything stopped moving and do it one more time. But for now, that is it. I was going to put this underneath, but look, I'm not going to. I think it'll be fine. I haven't left enough paint on there that it's actually going to make a puddle. So let's put the net back on and say good night to you, my beautiful painting. I will see you in the morning. So it's the next morning and I've just brought this painting out into my laundry here where I've got the sun coming in through the window. Thought I'd see how it looks with the sun coming in. It's lovely and shiny. So this is 2 coats of the pouring medium. It's come up really nice. I think I probably would like to do 3 because I can still see the little tiny crevices from the cell activator. You know how it makes those little dips? So I'll probably do another coat, but look how it makes the colours pop. It's so much easier than using resin. Well, I shouldn't say that because I've never actually used resin, but I can imagine. But I will give it a go, and no doubt once I try resin there'll be no coming back from it. But for this, it's just easy, you know, it's dry the next day. You can put another coat on if you want to. So look at that, look how shiny it is. It's really pretty. All right, I'll leave it at that. See you for the next one. Have a go at this, it's so easy. Okay, bye for now.